after the fire was extinguished, the cops found TJ and his girlfriend's bodies inside the crib. The murder rate kept going up, and it popped off like crazy in the 80s and 90s. After crack cocaine started getting pushed all over St. Louis, the gang crime went to another level and turned the streets into a war zone. Gangs from LA were moving into St. Louis, and that's when a lot of people started banging Bloods and Crips. But just like in LA, the situation wasn't that simple, and it isn't just Bloods beefing with Crips. Crews usually click up with other sets around the same hood, so you have Crips who beef for Crips, Bloods that beef with Bloods, and way more gangs all over the city. But one of the most famous Crips from St. Louis is a rapper named 30 Deep Grimy. Grimy's whole family came from the trenches, and even his grandma repped the Crips. There's a lot of Crip sets in St. Louis, but 30 Deep Grimy and his family all rep the 6 Deuce East Coast Crips. The 6 Deuce East Coast Crips started in LA, and one of the things that makes them stand out is that they wear orange instead of blue. The Crips started out in LA, but the politics in St. Louis are way different. On the West Coast, the H-Tray Gangsta Crips and Rolling 60s have been at war for years, but in St. Louis, they're cool with each other.
The H-Tray Gangsta Crips and the Rolling 60s in St. Louis are friends.
Really?
They are down there at the same gang.
30 Deep Grimy popped off and became the face of drill rap in St. Louis, and it's even more brutal than the drill scene in Chicago. But the reason the music is so crazy is because of how deadly the streets are. 30 Deep Grimy saw his first murder when he was just 8 years old, and his little brother got killed while 30 Deep Grimy was locked up on a gun charge. Eventually, 30 Deep Grimy decided to hop in the booth, and then he dropped one of the most disrespectful tracks in the game. Back in 2019, 30 Deep Grimy dropped the track Dead Goofies and dissed a bunch of ops from all over the city. Grimy even dissed his own cousin, reps an op block, and raps, "Free little DJ from your section, cause you know you a bitch. Smoking on D, clutching my XD, while I cruise through the strip." 30 Deep Grimy told Genius he still has love for his cousin though. He said that he put in a lot of work for his side.
And my little cousin, he's from the op side. I love my little cousin though. Like my little cousin, he's been locked up most of his life. He put a lot of work in for his side.
Then on the same track, 30 Deep Grimy dissed an op with his own mom putting out hits and raps. Them niggas telling on each other, telling free Lil Tyrell, throw him a homecoming party filled with demons and shells. Grimy was talking about a dude named Lil Tyrell who got booked for a murder back in 2013. 2 teenagers named Noah Barnes and James Moore were supposed to testify against Lil Tyrell. Then both of them ended up dead before the trial started. There were 4 other dudes wrapped up in the murder case too, but all of them walked free because the detective who was going to testify against them ended up dying from brain cancer. Then the situation took another wild turn when the news broke that Lil Tyrell's mom allegedly put the hits out on Noah Barnes and James Moore. 30 Deep Grimy was putting St. Louis drill on the map, but then he got booked on a gun charge, and the judge handed down a 7.5-year sentence right when 30 Deep Grimy was really starting to pop off. 30 Deep Grimy got so down with the gun charge, but this next rapper almost got locked up for life after he shot an op in the head. CTS Lil Wick is a white rapper from St. Louis who's been trying to make it in the rap game for a while. But what really got his name popping was when he got into a shootout in the middle of the street. Back in 2022, Lil Wick and his homies were riding mini bikes around the city when they were spotted by a dude named Joseph Shaw. Joseph Shaw was going the other way down the street, but then he hit a U-turn in his Jeep and pulled up next to Lil Wick. It's not clear what sparked the issue, but Joseph Shaw, the homie who was riding with him, up their strap and started shooting at Lil Wick and his homies. Lil Wick was ready for the smoke though, and he killed Joseph Shaw with a headshot. Lil Wick drove off and did the race for a couple months, but then the cops tracked him down and booked him on a murder charge. Lil Wick's name was all over the news and got more eyes on his music, but the prosecutors tried to use his lyrics against him in court. They tried to make Lil Wick look bad during the trial, but the prosecutors didn't really have a case. The cops found the gun that had been fired in Joseph Shaw's whip, and when they did the autopsy on him, they found that Joseph Shaw was tweaking on meth when he got killed. Lil Wick was facing life in prison, but he beat the case and got even more momentum in the rap game. His first day out track racked up over 1 million views, and Lil Wick started getting booked on big shows like No Jumper. A lot of people don't know how crazy St. Louis really is.
No
Lil Wick aired it all out when he went on No
Come
Jumper.
on,
He said Glock switches are all over the city, and you can get one for like $150. There's a lot of kids running around with guns in St. Louis, and Lil Wick said he got booked for his first shooting when he was 13. According to Lil Wick, an older dude in the hood started flashing his gun at him, so Lil Wick pulls out his own gun and shot the dude. CTS Lil Wick got a lot of clout in the rap game for killing the dude and beating the case. But most rappers in St. Louis end up dead or in jail before anyone outside the city even hears about them. Swag Huncho was a rapper who had a crew called 3 Problems with his homies Lil Tay and Rello. Swag Huncho wasn't just making music though, and a lot of sources claim he had at least 5 bodies. According to rumors, Swag Huncho backdoored a few of his own homies up, and that's why he ended up getting killed. Swag Huncho allegedly set up 3 of his homies just in 2015.